Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our off-season content.
Dude, it was a lot of work. We got here, and now we're here,
Yeah, and we're exhausted, but we're here to do a season preview for all of you, all of our fans. But no, we're back. Timberwolves are back. Preseason's over. We've only got the regular season ahead of us. So we wanted to go over, catch up on things that have happened this offseason, both with the Timberwolves and us, and just kind of get back into the swing of things. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. If you're not new here, or if you are new here, you can like the channel or like the video, comment on the video, and give us your predictions for the season. But we're going to get right into it. Ashwin, how are you doing?
Cameron, I'm doing thanks, man. It's been one hell of an off season. I think for the rest of the NBA, they can speak more highly of what happened. Crazy off season at random times. Like no doors being shut by chairs or anything. There's still some unresolved crap with like Harden and the beard. I feel like the best thing that happened was that nothing happened for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
For once. Yeah.
For once.
A calm off season. We're staying put. No Towns trade. No real anything crazy. I mean, we had draft picks, but it was just like a relatively calm off season. I mean, we had FIBA. FIBA was fun to watch. Watching Anthony Edwards ascend nationally. Because obviously everything we saw at FIBA was stuff that we know Ant can do. But the national media did not know that. Nor did just like players in general, I feel like know that. So it was kind of a wake up call for everybody. And then Rudy played, Cat played, Luka Garza played, like everybody played.
And Walker did.
Yeah, that's true. Literally so many people did. But and the good news is that we were all worried about Slow-mo too. We were all worried about Rudy because we were like, we don't want him to get hurt. He was all hurt last season from doing this, and they're not hurt, but like he was like banged up and not ready for the season.
France's ass.
They were bad. They were gone instantly. So we didn't have to worry about that. And then Ant did play, which I started to get a little worried about, but he's fine. He's young also, so it doesn't really matter. But everybody did pretty good. Everybody represented their countries well, I guess, maybe other than Rudy. But no, we're somebody. No NBA fan is really that much caring about FIBA. It's more of just like a fun little like side quest, which sounds terrible because I know that there are people that are so passionate about it, but like that's just not our thing. We're the NBA fans. We're not FIBA fans. So, but no, FIBA was a big part of the offseason, and really kind of the main thing of the offseason for the Timberwolves. I mean, Ant had a shoe deal. Cat seems sad now. Sad, serious. I don't know how to take it.
Seriously sad.
Seriously sad.
And we also had like Young Gravy and the uniform reveal.
Yes.
On Mike Minnetonka, and it was like, that's some sad promo.
That is a sad promo.
It's sad.
Also, I guess that's one thing we should kind of go over. How do you feel about the new jerseys? Both the new jerseys.
I love the retro jerseys, and I want them to be our new jersey. Like, 100%. I think the Thibodeau like military / apron jerseys gotta go.
Yep.
We have a new era. It's like the Finch era, and maybe there should just be birds. Or it should be just like the retro classic. It looks so good.
Oh, yeah. It really does. I love that jersey. And I'm not a fan of like usually any kind of white jersey. I don't like the last year's one.
Man, I actually some wild jersey. They grew on me, but they were wild.
Grow on me. They were wild, but they did grow on me. I still didn't buy one. I still didn't enjoy it. These ones I do like. Now, the Lakes one or whatever they're calling it, with like the water and the blue. Yeah. I really, really hate it. Like, I think it's maybe the worst jersey that they could have ever presented to me as an option. That seems like somebody like in middle school was like, hey, for your art project, for your like Photoshop project. Can you like design a jersey? I hate it. It's something that would be maybe more interesting for literally a like middle school team. But seeing that on the court this year is going to be an eyesore to me.
You stole all the words from my mouth, so I got nothing else to say, and that's maybe deserving of that type of jersey, right? Like nothing to say. It's awful, and I like this like minimalist movement that some of the NBA is trending towards. Like it just literally says Minnesota Timberwolves basketball on their like warm-ups.
Yes, yeah.
Left justified is what they spent all that money on this year, and like a font size. But like, what if that was our jersey? I would be into it compared to whatever this is.
Yeah, it's
literally Google image, copy paste. Oh, I guess we got to pay someone $5 to license that image and then just put like some filter on it. Yeah. 8th graders probably would have done a better job.
That's true. And I do think that in general, the NBA right now, most people are just enjoying retro jerseys. So like, I feel like they really just need to kind of lean into that right now because that's the market. That's the jerseys people are buying. If you look at like the play-in year, the first play-in year when we had like the blue jerseys, that was peak. You know, people loved that. And then last year was good too. Or no, last year, or maybe it was the year before. I can't remember. We had another.
Like
it was like
green one.
Yeah, the black and green one. That's really good. That was the Derrick Rose like throwback.
Those Prince jerseys were shit. Like I want to ask you though. Like we're talking about jerseys now, which I love. I'm getting into them more than I've ever been. They have like no shelf life because every year they respond with a brand new style guide, like brand new like standards for global NBA stuff. So then everyone changes all their jerseys every year. The Jazz now have fucking like warm up their jerseys when they had some of the best jerseys in the league. I
will say, and this
like,
is
there's no way for the jerseys to like establish themselves.
Yeah, this is a hot take. Okay, and I am literally the only person with this opinion. You will not find anybody like this. So I agree with you. The Jazz jerseys in the past were amazing. I love them. The Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert era there. I was really, the Sunsets. I was jealous of like literally every jersey. I do like their current throwback jersey, but the other jerseys, the like highlighter jerseys that people talk about and whatnot, I don't hate them. They are simple, and they are way worse than those other jerseys that they had, like the Sunsets. But I would prefer a jersey like that over the Lakes deep blue or whatever it's called that we have. That's my hot take, but I would much rather have that than whatever they gave us.
Yeah, I think also it's like your personal tastes and preferences. I know you like neon and bright lights, and like in Oregon had like the Oregon Ducks that they were just basically like a Nike testing grounds, and everything was fun to like experiment with.
Yeah,
but like now, like you're experimenting with people's wallets and like, this jersey is not doing it for me. Also, like it looks like they're gonna be fucking naked out there. It's like there's color here, and then there's like nothing.
Yeah,
I remember watching some sort of like clip or viral meme video on TikTok or whatever nonsense I'm doing and are watching, and there were some like dudes wearing like nude looking pants on a football field, and it looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
but that was like their jersey. It was like nude, like skin tone, like peach looking pants. Everyone looked like they were fucking just out there buttoning. Like that might have been better than whatever we're presented with today. You know, like I don't know.
It's crazy. No, it's crazy.
And Young Gravy, man. That just like is such a sad like state of affairs where that's the highlight, right?
Yeah, that's I could not believe it when I was seeing all this. I will say one thing, kind of, I guess, switching gears, is that Nas seems to be the new face of the team.
Dude,
Nas is at every one of these events.
He's got no off-season plans, man.
Yeah, he's not busy.
He's not at the Pharrell fashion show like at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. He was there for both. He was the main one for both of the jersey releases. He was there for the Young Gravy one, and then he was also there for the retro throwback one.
The seductive half-court, like, like lay back with the ball like in the air. I'm yours, man. I'm yours. Take me.
Oh God, it's amazing.
I'm with it. He's very photogenic. He looks good in the jerseys, and I don't know. Like, it also feels good to see like, yeah, Ant had a mural. Ant has like his jersey, and like he had that contract. Cat got a fucking big ass banner. Nas is like the borderline spokesperson for the Timberwolves. Conley is as well. Like, it is not only just like establishing brand, but it's like kind of culture promoting. And like, these are the people that we want as the heads and the future of our team. Like, showing them off and giving them the comfort, I think goes both ways. Like, they're going to feel better about that, and then we are like presenting them as like our team, you know?
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I mean, we have a lot of people now on the team that we can kind of market as like the face of the team too. I mean, think of it, like just a couple years ago, Towns was like our only option, and now we've got Towns, we've got Ant, we've got, like you said, Mike Conley, we've got Nas, we've got so many people that can represent the team in a way, which kind of shows you where the team has gone. We've got a better team than maybe ever. We say that every year now, but that it's true. We've been terrible for such a long time that it's not hard to be the best team in a while. So, but you mentioned a couple other things newsworthy this offseason. Ant's contract, no Jaden contract.
We'll get into that too. Or we can get into that now.
We could get into that now. Nas got his deal. Super happy about that. I feel like he could have got more money elsewhere, so I'm glad. And I think that was even reported that he could have got money elsewhere, but he stayed with us. So that feels good. But the Jaden deal, we haven't talked about it yet. You and I have not talked anything really about Wolves until this exact moment.
If you like bypassing all of our off-season content, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. You have to everybody go back to the YouTube channel, scroll. I know it's pages worth, but go through all the pages and you'll see all of everything. We've talked about it. We've even talked about the Jaden contract.
For like several instances.
Yes.
If you don't find it here, you can like find it on our other channel, Timberwolves Daily.
There we go. Timberwolves Daily. True. Yes. And Dane Moore. But the Jaden contract.
Right.
I have no idea on numbers. I don't think we really need to go really into deep the numbers and stuff like that. But I think, I guess here's the thing that matters at the end of the day. Do you think us getting him to a contract or not is going to affect his willingness to play for the team this year?
This is an hour-long episode. And from what I told you previously from all of our off-season content, my like 24-second shot clock kind of like the pressure's on, let's talk about it, and spend all this time talking about how I'm going to talk about it. I think it won't, but it could. And because I think I understand him as a player, as a person, he just wants to play. He just wants to hoop. But I think it could definitely impact. He's injured right now. Like, he wasn't playing in preseason, and he might just like sit on that injury a little bit longer than he needs to. And luckily, we have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who we signed. Like, wow, what a signing! We got some other people in that position that can maybe play. We can call up like Minot. That's not a position that we want to be in because he's like the next man up on our like a rotation for getting a massive contract. It doesn't help that the longer this goes, the more other people in the NBA get contracts, and then we're comparing their numbers to what we could be offering, and then he has more ammo. It kind of reminds me of like Wiggins and just being like not signing until the offseason and then getting max money, and because he like had spaghetti with Glenn Taylor, like I'm worried that this is going to impact his performance. But I don't think it's going to deflect or infiltrate the team and the team dynamic. I think we're all supporting him, and even the team. It's just like a numbers game now. And I think he thinks he's worth max money. He probably could be, but he fouls out. He's lead leaguer in fouls. He has a lot of issues at his own right, and he probably wants to be more of a more of a role on offense. And we might not have that for him, so it's concerning. I remember a couple of years ago, you had brought this up, and I'll stop talking here in a second. We might trade him. We should probably look to trade him. Or like he's not performing the way that we probably want him to. And all of a sudden, like he's what everyone is talking about as the X factor for our team, with probably absolute certainty is the person who will be the wild card on our team. And he can guard anyone from 1 through 4. I love the dude. I want him to get his money. But man, we have an issue, like apron issue. And I don't know how, like, if we can keep him and what the current structure of our team going forward. But that's a future problem. Maybe we should go all in this year, make him happy, and figure it out next year.
I think that's kind of where I am. Is you go all in. I mean, but it depends on what all in is, I guess, because I don't want to be. If you pay him max money, it's like you said. He's not Wiggins, but it's the same type of situation where it's like, well, the fouling is a big issue, and we can't be paying you max money for still having the fouling be such a huge issue. And on top of that, like offensively, we need more. There's been flashes of his offense, and of course he's got like a little crossover that he has now. But like we just need consistency, and we don't really have that at the moment. Like, I mean, obviously Ant's a different beast. Cat is a different beast when it comes to like offense. But like both of those guys are consistent. And for Jaden to be a max player, I don't think anybody really, I mean, I guess you could argue Rudy Gobert, but other than Rudy Gobert, who gets a max deal that is basically only a top defender? I feel like that's maybe, and I haven't looked at the numbers, so maybe there's an entire list of people, but I feel like in just my experience, it's like, I don't feel like there's that many names out there where it's like, oh, you know what? They're a top defender, max deal. Like that doesn't happen. Of course, we view him as a big part of this team going forward. And that's where I kind of just think you pay now, and then at the end of this season, you figure it out, because kind of regardless, you have to figure it out. We've got the Cat's contract kicking in. Ant has his big deal. Rudy's got his big deal.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people with a lot of money. And then we're going to have to re-sign people. I mean, maybe, like that there's been talks apparently about like Mike Conley coming back and signing. Of course, it would probably have to be on a much lesser deal than he currently is being paid. But still, there's too much to figure out. Even that's without Jaden, So I think you sign Jaden, figure it out later. Because there's a high likelihood that we're going to have to, at the end of the season, even if we are a championship team, like let's say everything goes right this year and we make it to the finals, next year, there's so much to figure out, because it's just too much money with the aprons. So
Devin Vassell got like 4 years, $150 million. I thought maybe even more. I forgot. Maybe like a lot more, actually, honestly. Mm-hmm. Bruce Brown left a championship team to get paid, get his bag. Good for him. That team isn't going to be as good as Denver. Then Denver's going to suffer as a loss of Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown was like a 10 and 10 player a night, maybe max, and he's getting that type of money. DeAndre Ayton didn't sign a contract, refused, even was like floating in trade rumors all year. And then just like now is with Portland with a max contract, which is so weird and gross. Like this could be a reality for Jaden. It's crazy. Like what team wants to use Jaden as like a one or a second option? Like I don't see it on any team in the NBA right now. So he would be a third option anywhere he goes. He'd be like a third or fourth option anywhere he goes. Like maybe Houston, but Houston has fucking, So it's a crazy situation. We have to deal with it. Why are we the team having to deal with it when like all these other teams have to deal with it? Like we got to get creative. Lakers got creative. Golden State got creative. And there's a lot of luck on their side when all that happened. Yeah, maybe bigs are easier to replace because, their defensive tendencies are just like they're tall, and that helps. Mm-hmm. But Gobert is kind of an anomaly in that because it's like $60 million. How do you part $60 million? Like how do you trade $60 million? we'll get into kind of like rumors and potential like what is going to come. But we started this show being like the water is calm in Lake Minnetonka, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to actually have anything disrupt that. For the first year in maybe Cat's career, like everything is normal. There's good energy, like maybe better than good energy, but it's like for the reasons that are winning, for winning purposes, not for like good vibes and like dunks after dark and like selling pizzas. It's like we have a real shot here, everyone. Don't mess it up over and like it should not be money. Let basketball be the reason why we win or lose. It's not money.
I agree. I think this is the year. I mean, I think a lot of other fans outside of the Timberwolves would be like, oh yeah, you absolutely don't go all in with this team. This team sucks. Like it's got Rudy and like everybody hates Rudy and Towns is whatever. They all are like he changes his voice and like
that's what everybody sounds like.
Yeah, that's like literally what all of NBA Twitter sounds like when they talk about the Timberwolves is like, well, Cat changes his voice and Rudy Gobert is tall and Anthony Edwards is overrated. Like that's the spiel, and that's not true. I mean, nobody watches the Timberwolves clearly. I mean, like people are just seeing things that he's doing in FIBA, as we were talking about earlier, and they're like, oh wow, maybe Anthony Edwards is good. And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. But I agree. I think this is the year to go all in because of the contract situation going forward. You've got a lot of talent. This is you got to. I mean, at the very least, I think, and this is maybe we're starting to get into projections, but this is a little bit. This is a bit more like we can't failure this year is not moving past the first round. We cannot be a play-in team. We need to have our own playoff series and win that playoff series. Even if it takes 7 games, you have to win that series. And that's acceptable. But still the thing is, things could change after the season with the schedule or not with the schedule, with the payroll and everything like that. You don't know what could happen, but I think it's time to get into predictions for the season. So we've done an exercise. You've done extra credit for the exercise.
I always do.
You always do. But we did some exercises. Last season, you may have seen our preseason where we went through every single game together and chose the outcome of all the Timberwolves games. We are not going to bore you this year with that. We're just going to tell you where we are at certain points in the season and what the record is. So I will say, I didn't write this down anywhere, so this is me just saying this, so I guess you just have to believe me. I did write down what my final prediction was, but if you were to ask me before the season where I think the Timberwolves are going to be record-wise, now keep in mind, record-wise is very difficult because if there's as much parity as there was last year in the West, having 44 wins could be the 3rd seed. Like, it could be everything. So actually, what was it last year? So yeah, like if you had 45 wins, you were the 4th seed. So that's like, that's insane. So I guess the record doesn't matter as much, but if we were to go, record and seeding, I would have probably guessed somewhere in the realm of probably 45 wins, maybe 46 wins would be my guess. And then seed wise, probably 5th or 6th would be my guess / hope. I mean, that was kind of what I was hoping for last season, but that was my guess before doing this exercise. Did you have a guess? And it's okay if you didn't, I'm putting you on the spot, but did you have a guess before the season where you thought record wise, seed wise we'd be?
So I'm going to try to be as quick as possible here, but last year when the Rudy Gobert trade happened, I was like, we're going to be a top seed in the West.
We both.
We were not the only show to say that.
Everybody.
I will say that much. And maybe we were proven wrong, but there's still that potential energy in this team. And Cat went down for 50 plus games.
Yeah.
We had D'Lo at the start of the season. Like
yeah.
So much changed in that year, and we hit 45 wins. Yeah, we didn't win a playoff series. We probably could have. I mean, I know Denver was a team, ended up winning the championship, but like I'm clumping in like Memphis and Denver together in the sense that we could have won probably either of those series, but probably the Memphis series more so than the Denver one. But had we had just like 4 more wins, we went to play Denver. We would have matched up Denver in the second round. So like, and if we had Cat for 50 more games, we would have played some other team we would beat. Like I'm just saying. So coming into this year, I was like, I'm feeling pretty high because we're not making moves. Other teams are desperate. A couple of teams got made awesome transitions, and like Jaws suspended for some time. The Kings may have been a fluke. Okay, so he has Chet and stuff. I say all this to say, like, before Vegas odds came out, I was like, this team could go 55 wins, even with the parity. Like, I think we could have made a huge leap. Just think about 50 more games of Cat. Like, who's stopping whatever that is?
Yep.
And, like, absolute certainty of who's running point guard, and that's a point guard who can pass, and a point guard who can, like, throw it up to Gobert and, like, keep everyone on. So I was thinking that before Vegas came out, and then they said 44.5 wins or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, what are they thinking? And then I'm hearing like podcasts kind of like in passing, or like the Zach Lowe like said this, like reading, glancing through Reddit. I'm like, whoa, someone knows something that I don't. And I still am thinking like about 50 wins is a potential for us.
I agree. I think it's definitely a potential for us.
But that was before doing this exercise.
Yeah. I agree. And I think we should also mention this. You did every team, and I just did the Timberwolves. Actually, I did the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, and maybe Portland. Really random combination. But
I did every team.
But you did every team, and I only did the Wolves. So yours is, I guess, a way more in-depth version that has even like cross-checking of like other teams and things like that. Mine is literally just the Timberwolves. So I will go first because lay
it on me.
Yeah, I have the like by certain dates record kind of a thing written down. I just had to write them down.
I love that.
So by the in-season tournament at December 7th or whatever that is, I have the Timberwolves being 13-6. So a hot start to the season. I think if we're 13-6 after the beginning of the season, especially by the play-in tournament or the in-season tournament, we're feeling very good. So I have a lot of wins in the beginning of the season. By the All-Star break, which is February, I have us at 35-18, which is very good. And I must admit, so those of you that have watched the show, you understand I'm very pessimistic about the Wolves a lot of the time. So this is like
17 games over 500 levels of pessimistic.
Last year, what did I have? I think the first one I did, because we did two. The first one I think I had it as like 500 or something like that. I had it as like 41-41. So at the All-Star break, I have a 17 games over 500. And by the end of the season, and okay, this does change a little bit with the in-season tournament if we win it, or if we play in it, or if we don't play in it. But at the end of the entire season, I have us at 50 wins. So 50 wins. Of course, I don't have the seeding since I didn't do every single team. But I'll be honest. After watching the preseason games, and I know they're just preseason, I'm really trying to not take too much from them, but I am taking a little bit from them. The ball movement, the energy from the players. I am very optimistic. I feel like if this team doesn't have injuries, and I legit mean this, I don't see a way that we aren't in at least the top 4 seed of the West this year. I know that there are powerful teams out there, and now there's these article coming out about how we're talking about like Ant, Cat, and Gobert is like a big three. And, sure, on our team, we've probably said the words big three or big four or whatever, not meaning to compare that to actual big threes of like top superstars. But like on our team, that is the big three. Like that is what they are. But like without any of those players getting injured, like Cat last season, I don't know. I feel really good about Cat. I feel really good about Rudy. He looks really good this preseason. And Ant, if he plays like he's playing right now, we're looking at an MVP level player. So I have us at 50 wins at the end of the season.
Zach Lowe put us in the top 10 of like must-watch TV like teams. The Simmons podcast has us like kind of locked in as the over on 45.5 wins. There's been a lot of optimism, mostly because we didn't kind of like gut our team. We didn't restart. We have a culture building. Seems like in the locker room, everyone's in. Seems like the post game, pressers and the media availabilities for all these players. It feels like this is a very serious winning tone. Even to like Pat's demeanor, it's just like, what a psychological just like balance this is. Like to not to like have expectations and like have them like set way before even a season starting. Like everyone's healthy, everyone's in camp, not sitting on the bench or slouching or like being above anyone else. Like I love it, and I think that sets a tone. And I say all that to say the fact that last year we had Cat sick. We had like to introduce Rudy to our team, and we had the easiest schedule in the league, and we went like 4-11 or something like that, right? We were abysmal, and we could have been so much better. But I feel like we were playing above our competition now this year, and I think all the teams have to match up. And you said a big three, we have a big ass roster.
Yeah.
It's not like a big anything. It's like a Big 10. Right? Like,
yeah.
Like formerly Big 10, whatever. Like, and you also say, even if we're like injury free, I think we're set up to have injuries.
We might be, actually. You're right.
We have a fourth big in Luka Garza, and we have like Leonard Miller and Minot in case like there's some Jaden nonsense, and like, even Jaden gets injured and Kyle Anderson gets injured. But like, we have so many dynamics that will help us afford a couple of weeks here or there of injuries. And honestly, injuries could be a good thing because like we saw last year, slow-mo emerged. Nickeil Alexander-Walker got traded for and like emerged. So I'm actually like okay with some injuries to like players. I don't want that. It's just like in the event that I'm saying way too much to say also that I think you're right in the sense that this team has top 4 like floor like potential. I have them if you count 82 games because I don't know, I did this whole thing and it stopped at 78. I have them at 52-30. And that would put them in top 4 in the West, which means like I'm looking at Memphis, which I disagree with, but I did the thing, and Memphis is at the top. It's not true. Yeah. Phoenix is up there. That might be more realistic, but also like they might be trying to just get in as opposed to trying to be as top as possible. The Lakers look remarkable in terms of what they did, and they're also kind of not idiot-proof, but like they're going to lose AD for some time. They're going to rest LeBron because of LeBron, and they kind of have players that fill in those roles well, and then they have like fucking, top of the All-Star ballot, Austin Reeves, to sort it all together. Denver is going to take a step back, in my opinion. Golden State, they are old as F.
They are. They're probably the biggest question mark for me this year. I think I don't understand what they're going to do. Yeah,
and I think the West, just in general, like the East feels a little bit more clear than the West. The West is like 10, 11 teams deep.
Oh, yeah.
And
maybe, yeah.
I don't think there is a chance for us to be in the play-in this year. I think it's going to be so messy in the bottom, and we were a part of that last year. Mm-hmm. But I think our team is resilient enough. It's young enough. It has a type of play style that will, like, withstand, like, adversity. And I think strongly that we're going to be in that top 4 position. And what does that mean? Coach of the year considerations. What does that mean? MVP, DPOY, first team ballot NBA, all NBA ballot considerations. You know what that means for our team is just prices go up, and our, for tickets, like everything is going to be just illuminated for our team this year. Expectations were probably set a little too high. We still have to figure out the bigs, but I don't think that's like a problem. I think Rudy has understood his assignment. Conley getting $25 million a year, he understands his assignment. I think 52 wins is in play, man, and that's not even just a meme for our channel. I think it's like a possibility.
I agree. I think it's very possible. And you're right. I do think, thinking about it a little bit more, like we probably are a little injury proof. I guess I'm more so thinking less about Cat and more about Ant. I feel like Ant is the one that I'm the most worried about if he were to get injured, which makes sense. You can't have perfect backups for everybody, but and especially not somebody that could potentially be an MVP caliber player this year. You're right with Cat. We can definitely have him. Like if he got injured, I mean, obviously we already have Rudy, and then we've got Garza, we've got Nas, we've got like a ton of people behind him that would be fine to fill in, and may have to in the years after this year. Who knows what happens? Same with Jaden. I think we found that out, especially in the playoffs last year with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He at times was literally Jaden. Maybe better at times because he was able to produce offensively somewhat consistently in late in the season. And so far early in the preseason, he's been hitting on a lot of threes where they're passing out to him. So, it's taking it. Yeah, it looks good. I guess even if Mike Conley went down, I hate saying this because, he last year has not looked good, but Baby Mac has played really well and looked a lot better. And that might be serviceable. And a lot of the time, we even have Kyle Anderson who can bring up the ball. Ant can bring up the ball. Na can bring, all these players can kind of fill in for each other. Ant is the one that's the one where we lose probably the most. There's probably some advanced stat where it's wins versus replacement or something. I don't even know. But that's the position where it's okay, well, even though we could put in we have somewhat of a Mike Conley, Na, and Jaden, and then something like that. That's interesting, but it's not the same offensive explosion. And at the same time, Ant's defense is also there too. So it's you're right. I think you're right. I guess I'm just worried about an injury to Ant because if we have an injury to Ant, I just don't know if we can. I don't know if we can be a top 4 seed. I think there still is a floor for this team, and it's not play-in, or it's not lottery, is what I mean to say. The floor without Ant is definitely play-in, but we're not going to be a lottery team this year.
Well, notably in my conversations about injury-proof team. Ant was absent in my list. I think that is the one if he goes down for any length of time, our team is going to be very predictable. There's a lot less discovery and more just recovery and understanding who can actually take the shots now, and that's a lot more Troy Brown Jr. than we probably need. Who's also looking really good for us. Last year we had Jalen Noel, just an absolute dud. Jordan McLaughlin, an absolute dud. Our bench was actually it sounded good in theory on paper, and wow, the next man up, and we're really considering even Minot can get some time. Of course not. Our bench is a squad now, I think, and maybe it's just not repeating myself from last year, but it feels very mature and veteran laden with Milton and Shake Milton and Troy Brown Jr. They're not veterans, but they're smart, savvy players, and they also get buckets and they're 3-point shooters, and they both are decent with the ball. We can rely on them a little bit more than understanding if our prospect in Jalen Noel could become a thing. And I just feel very sure that through all adversity that could come our way, we'll rise above, and I think we'll get into that top 4 seed. the Ant injury is the one thing that would stop that. However, he's young, as you said. He's bouncy as hell. He got new shoes. He's got his own shoe,
which is part of it that bothers me. But anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like will he actually play well in his own shoe?
New shoes screw up players sometimes. That's all I'm going to say. And if he specifically is playing in them, which he has so far,
yeah.
I just get a little worried. But I mean, I like the shoe, but
yeah. Well, our team becomes a lot more predictable. It's just like double cat and then let everyone else try to make buckets, So with Ant, we have a dynamic that is, unparalleled in the NBA. So